We're bringing developing news.
And the stories behind the headlines. This is Storycon. I'm Regina Lay.
I'm Edling Gao. Some headlines this Thursday, September 4. Former Bulacan First District Engineer Henry Alcantara has been fired from the Department of Public Works. That's after figuring in questionable flood control projects, now at the center of several investigations. Before his dismissal from the service, Alcantara and his team were relieved from their posts. The engineer has also admitted to playing in a casino several times. Meantime, Senator Joel Villanueva has once again denied any connection with Alcantara. Villanueva's home province of Bulacan, where Alcantara was once stationed, cornered over 660 flood control projects in the past 3 years, as shown in the President's list of top recipients of projects.
Sir, wala kayong transaction with Alcantara?
Never.
Wala kayong transaction?
Ang transaction is, what is transaction? And again, this is, unfortunately, this will again be used by fake news peddlers, no? Ano ba yung transaction? District engineer siya. Lahat ng senador, lahat ng secretary na pumunta sa presidente ng Pilipinas nandun nakakasama siya. So, yun ba is an evidence na sangkot? Bakit si Joel lang yung tinuturo? Bibigyan ko kayong lahat ng picture nilang lahat. Bibigyan ko kayong lahat ng video nilang lahat. So, bakit? Bakit ako? Bakit ako?
Public Works Secretary Vince Dizon recommended the filing of charges against contractor Wawao Builders. This comes after the discovery of supposed ghost flood control projects or at least one project in Plaridel, Bulacan, worth 96.5 million. Is it billion or million? I think it's billion pesos, 96.5 billion pesos. Dizon said the project was listed as completed in 2024, but work only began 3 weeks ago. He's also ordered the lifetime blacklisting of Wawao Builders.
Ang tawag ko dito, patay na, pinipilit buhayin. Kasi nabayaran na siya nung last year. Sabi dito ng DPWH, 100% completed na to last year. Pero, siguro, 3 weeks ago, umiinit. Nag-iimbestiga na ang Senado, nag-iimbestiga na ang Kongreso, nagalit na ang Pangulo. Pinipilit buhayin yung patay. Wala na to ghost project ito Klarong-klaro na ghost project ito. Pero dahil lang sa mga pangyayari, hinahabol ngayon. Ito na ang pinakamagaling at pinakamabilis na contractor na nakita ko. Na 270 days ang schedule, natapos niya in less than 3 months. Ito talaga ang example nung sinasabi ng ating Pangulo. No? Ito yung sinasabi ng ating Pangulo na talagang ito, kahayupan na ito. Hindi tao itong mga taon to. Nakita niyo naman yung hirap ng mga kababayan natin dito.
And here are the other stories you're watching at this hour. Trade Secretary Cristina Roque. Trade Secretary Cristina Roque confirms the resignation of Philippine Contractors Accreditation Board Executive Director Herbert Matienzo. Matienzo cited personal reasons in his resignation letter. Aside from Matienzo, 2 other directors of the PICAB have also quit. This comes in the wake of allegations that some contractors have paid the agency up to 2 million pesos for accreditation.
The lookout order against 35 individuals involved in alleged anomalous flood control projects is now in force, but the Bureau of Immigration said this is only for monitoring purposes and does not stop the subjects from leaving the country. Among those in the order approved by the DOJ are contractors Alex and Raymond Abelido and Sarah Discaya, plus DPWH officials including Undersecretary Maria Catalina Cabral. Malacanang and Pasig City Mayor Vico Soto have reminded the public not to resort to violence amid their outrage over these flood control issues. Protesters earlier descended on the Discaya compound in Pasig City and threw mud and rocks at them and even vandalized the property. Palace Press Officer Yusek Claire Castro said the government does not want any chaos at this point, and for his part, Soto said in a Facebook post, and I quote, "I understand that we are angry and frustrated, but let's not resort to acts that could potentially lead to violence or injuries."
House spokesperson Princess Abante confirms that Ako Bicol Party List Congresswoman or Congressman Zaldy Co is currently in the United States. Abante says Co is there for medical treatment. The lawmaker, who previously stepped down as Appropriations Committee chairman due to health reasons, is being linked to alleged anomalous flood control projects and insertions in the 2025 budget.
Still on the House, party leaders have withdrawn their request to return the proposed 2026 National Expenditure Program, or NEP, to the Department of Budget and Management, or DBM. That was earlier made. The bid was made after supposed mangling of some items, specifically in the DPWH's spending program. House Appropriations Vice Chair Jose Alvarez said budget deliberations will continue so that Public Works Secretary Vince Dizon and Budget Secretary Amena Pangandaman can hear all the complaints directly.
And joining us today, or join us in a bit, will be Ami Pamintuan of the Philippine Star, but she's not yet online. So we'll be having her in a little bit. Wala si Ronald Llamas, meron siyang ka-meeting na mga holy men. Maniwala ka doon? Uy, nagbabati ka niyong loko eh.
I'm trying to be diplomatic about it, but I don't know how to respond to that.
Alam mo, sometimes holy men have to be in touch with sinners.
Kasi
So that they're grounded. Otherwise,
so they're in touch
diba?
with the sinners, and
yeah.
the ordinary people.
Yeah.
That's a nice way to look at it.
Kasi otherwise they're in their little echo chamber, so they have to
To meet the
consult.
ordinary people.
So, kailangan
The
konsultin
Pharisees, the sinners, and the
sabi mo, ang mga,
talagang biblical. We're gonna go back to
makasalanan.
biblical times. First of all, the first thing I want to say is a correction. 96.5 million pesos is the amount of the project, the flood control project in Plaridel, Bulacan, that Secretary Dizon inspected today. It's not 96.5 billion.
Kung nga, dami ng problema ng DPWH, nagpapading ka pa.
Sa akin pala yun. Media pala may kasalanan. As always. No?
Nagpading ka pa ng
Ako pala yung nagpad. I'm so sorry.
Nagpading ang 3-0.
Nevertheless, that was confirmed a ghost project because what happened there is it was marked completed in the DPWH report last year, but when Secretary Dizon went to visit it, it's not even. It's
already?
far from completed, and in fact, the people there told him nag-start lang ang construction maybe around 3 weeks ago. So it's still a very
Manginabol lang.
after the SONA.
Oh,
So
that's way past the zone already.
kaya nga, way past the SONA, that was a
Parang hinabulan talaga with the investigations
that was
ongoing.
an alarm, that was a signal to everyone. So they thought, okay, we better fix these holes, right? And that could be one of the projects.
And get some work done na pwedeng kunan ng picture.
Na kunyari, put some backhoes in, put some
Parang meron kang geotagging.
steel, put some steel bars in, put some bags of cement, right?
Well, we're not implying anything.
We're not?
Si Reg po yun. Okay. Uy, ang dami nangyari. Teka, sayang sana si Ami, no? We could ask her headlines. Pero, I was reviewing, I saw a Philippine Star story. At least 5 of the vice chairman of the Infracom, kasi Infracom is made out of 3 committees, at least 5 vice chairman of the Public Works Committee, which is a subcommittee of the Infracom, are contractors. So I'm wondering how they're going to go about the undertaking. It was approved by, through the motion of Chel Diokno the other day. Will they inhibit or will they say no conflict of interest?
It's the same conversation as what we were having yesterday, right? Which is the public can make them inhibit. If the conflict of interest is not clear, no, I'm saying.
I had a conversation kanina with Terry Ridon, the chairman of Infracom. Sabi ko, sir, is there any way you can make them inhibit? Kasi public pressure is one thing, but public pressure is not always a sure thing. Also, the public can be fickle at
It's
times.
not a sure thing, but there is there is I mean, the momentum is on the right side right now, basically, right? So the public is seeing all of this. It's all coming to light. It's all being exposed. And what I'm saying is, hindi naman tayo without agency. If the conflict of interest is not obvious yet to these people, there is a way to force them to step down from the investigations. Because, again, this is going to sound incredibly idealistic, but the power of Congress comes from the people.
What did you say again? Can you say that
forget
again?
that.
Can you repeat
No.
that part?
It's a very basic tenet, but it's something we shouldn't forget.
Oh, yeah, we haven't forgotten, except that...
The people shouldn't forget, is my
I
point.
mean, we haven't forgotten. We never forget.
Kasi
But,
naging shameless na eh. The corruption, the unethical activities, all of these things over time have compounded. So parang nawala na. Where's the line when it comes to shame and delicadeza and conflicts of interest? Nawala na yung line. The line moved. So what I'm saying is, here is a chance. Now that all of this is being exposed, here's a chance to redraw that line again and say, okay, obviously you can't participate in an investigation if your relatives that are
but you
involved.
can't just draw a line. You have to put up the fence.
Na may steel
May
bars.
bakod talaga. Tapos may barbed wire. Kasi kung linya lang yan, madaling...
30% lang ng budget na tira eh. Paano ba yan? I can't afford steel bars.
Well,
Semento lang yan.
sige,
But-
sige na, PC na lang.
PC na.
Well, I was talking kanina to Terry Ridon sa Morning Matter. Sabi niya, I had the same question to him. I threw the same question to him. Parang, is there any way that you can enforce inhibition in case there is a conflict? Kasi dun sa motion, parang wala namang mention na inhibition. It's just
Disclose.
an undertaking to disclose your financial and pecuniary interests, and that's as far as it went. Ang sabi niya, they already have or they already put together a form that would include inhibition
Okay,
in the
so that's a
undertaking.
separate motion.
No. In the undertaking daw,
Okay.
he had inhibition inserted in the undertaking. So if you do disclose your conflict of interest, automatic daw dapat yon na you are also inhibiting yourself. Sabi niya, and I quote, they
Up
will
to
need to
what
inhibit themselves in
degree
this form.
are we talking?
Ayun,
It has to be very clear.
That's the other problem. That's the part two of the problem. The part of the problem is, sabi niya, there's a legislative vacuum here. Well, vacuum is not the word he used, pero parang ganun eh. As far as the anti-graft law is concerned, ang meron talagang restrictions as far as yung conflict of interest to the third degree ng
Consanguinity
Congreso,
and affinity. Okay.
is the Senate President and the House Speaker. But the ordinary members of Congress, they are not limited by the anti-graft law. As far as yung relationships are
So-
concerned. So merong parang vacuum of sorts where we will have to rely on
Delikadesa.
Number one, kapal na mukha ba o wala? Gumamit ng katagang kapal na mukha si Congressman eh.
Okay.
Kapal na mukha ba o wala?
Okay.
Number two, public pressure.
That's what I'm saying.
I know.
The public has some agency here. You can force your congressman to sit out if obvious naman they have conflicts of interest.
You can, but the public is also fickle.
Well, you know what?
And the public easily forgets. Sometimes even
They
if you try to
easily
remind them.
forget, and it's our job to remind
I know.
them of how deep the problem is, right? And the other thing is that so that's the first step, and they could easily fix that with a motion, right?
So may ganun usapin na number one, dapat automatic inhibition yan if you sign the undertaking
in
and
an
you
ideal
disclose.
world,
So,
in an ideal
and you
world.
disclose kasi you're basically self-disclosing that you have a conflict of interest eh. So
Well.
sabi ko, what if that's not disclosed, or what if there's an argument na hindi naman no conflict of interest eh. So as far as I'm concerned, in my undertaking, I'm not conflicted.
Right.
Eh,
None of them think
you
they're
can-
conflicted.
There you go.
That's the problem.
There you
None
go.
of them think they're conflicted.
So there you go into that vacuum of sorts.
Right.
Legislative
But it's
vacuum.
clear that the push is for up to the third degree of consanguinity and affinity, right?
Well, third or fourth. I'm not sure
That
exactly
to me
what's
is very clear. But let's bring in someone at this point who could maybe talk a bit more about that. We have with us Navotas Representative Congressman Toby Tiangco. Hi, Congressman. Good to see you again.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, we're talking lang about kasi kahapon yung medyo heated debate ninyo sa Congress, of course, had to do with conflict of interest. I mean, at least in general, it's an issue of conflict of interest. Who should be brought up before Congress and made to testify
Nawala.
and ganun, di ba? In a way, you might say it's conflict of interest. Sir, can you hear us?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Yes, sir. Now, we were talking kanina lang about yung listahan ng Philippine Star na at least 5 vice chairmen in the subcommittee on public works are contractors. And I checked the website ng Committee on Public Works. Ito nga, si Arbison, Beltran, Loria, Pancho, and Gonzales. Of course, without imputing any malice, they are contractors. So, ang discussion namin kanina, at least in part, was is that a guarantee? Is there a guarantee that they will inhibit themselves from this investigation, or
How do we make them?
Oh, and how do you make them inhibit themselves?
Nasa rules naman namin yun, you have to inhibit. Pero it's not only that. Wala talagang pupuntahan tong investigasyon na to. Lokohan lang investigasyon sa House. That is very, very clear.
Yes, sir. I also get what you mean, na if you can't get them to testify under oath anyway as a resource person, wala rin pupuntahan. I think that was your major point yesterday.
Yes.
But I was also wondering what it says in your rules, in the House rules. Can, for example, a congressman, a colleague, be forced or mandated to testify under oath, or is that part of tradition na you can't?
Tradition lang, Ed. Walang eksaktong nakasulat
Nothing
na
on
hindi
paper.
pwede.
So technically, pwedeng ipilit.
Pwedeng ipilit, pero hindi natin dapat ipilit na kami yung mag-imbestiga. Yun lang ang sinasabi
Yes, sir.
ko, di ba? Pabayaan na lang yung independent commission.
Well, sir, kasi the other question there is that an independent commission, would that have the force of law requiring, for example, appearance before the commission and statements made under oath? Kasi it's only a creation of the executive. How does that work?
And then you can forward it to the investigating agencies, di ba? At least talagang may arm's length, walang involvement yung Congress kasi nga hindi ba nila matanggap na hindi ko alam kung namanhid na kami o nakasama kami sa pinagdududahan ng tao tapos kami yung mag-iimbestiga sa sarili namin. Ano ba yun?
Yes, sir.
But
Hindi ba? Manhid na ba kami?
yeah. So
Hindi ba namin na alam yung sentimiento ng tao?
Kong, one of the problems we're having right now is everyone starting to finger point, right? So, for example, all of the congressmen we've spoken to have said, "Oh no, it's DPWH lang yan. They're the ones who put in all these ghost projects." And then right now there's a proposal it was scrapped, pero earlier there was an idea to send back the 2026 NEP to DBM kasi daw ngayon pa lang there are a lot of questionable items already and red flags and so on and so forth. What did you think about that?
Okay, number one, I mean, it's so obvious. It's part of the plan to change the narrative. Kasi, di ba, noong SONA, ang sabi ng presidente, mahiya kayo, ibig sabihin referring to us. So they're doing everything. Hindi naman tayo pinanganak lang kahapon. Alam naman natin, ginagawa ang lahat para mailayo sa Kongreso yung issue. Di ba? Kaya kung sino-sino yung itinuturo nila na sinong may kasalanan. Ang very simple dito is sabihin nila, doon lang sa DPWH. Di ba doon sa pinakita ni Mayor Magalong, pinakita naman niya, totoong meron yung contractor, totoong sinabi niya na meron yung contractor, nakita, sinabi niya, supposed to be may SOP sa DPWH. At supposed to be, may 20% sa Committee on Appropriations. Ito is logical na kung sino yung may pinakamalaking nakuha, yun ang una mong gustong tukuyin. Balik na rin natin yung sitwasyon. kung sinabi nila na yung DPWH lang, for example, ang pinakamalaking nakuha, I'm sure talagang bubugbugin nila yung DPWH. Pero nung sinabi ni Mayor Magalong na 20% ay doon sa Committee on Appropriations, wala, ayaw nilang patawag si Mayor Magalong. Tsaka it's so ironic, di ba? Sila yung naghabol, oy, pumunta ka dito. Dito mo sabihin. O nung nagsabi naman yung tao, hindi, tsaka na. Bakit ganon? Tinawag pa nga ni Mayor Magalong, I mean, I'll just rephrase it, may ginamit siyang term, sinabi niya, lokohan, di ba? Dati, ang tatapang nila. Pag tinawag mo lokohan yung TRICOM, bukas papatawag ka na, papakontempt ka. Di ba? O, ba't di nagamitin yung tapang ngayon?
Sir, the other... Ay, sorry. Ami Pamindon's already, I think. Ami, are you
Ay,
there?
nakikinig muna ako sa inyo. Na-late ako.
Pasingit lang ng ano, sir. You also mentioned na merong 13 billion plus na allocation for, particularly for Zaldy Co. Tapos meron pang additional 2 plus or 2.2 plus for his party list and another 2 billion for the party list of, I think, his daughter or his other relative, totaling 17 billion. So obviously the primary person to ask would be Congressman Zaldy Co. But he's not there. He hasn't been there for ano.
Yung sinabi ko statement na yun was a follow-up, was a manifestation in connection doon sa tanong ni Congressman Erice. Tinanong niya si Secretary Bonoan, alam niyo ba yung mga insertions?
Yes, sir.
Okay? Sabi ni Secretary Bonoan, hindi. Pag lumabas yung BICAM, doon lang namin makikita na dadagdagan kami o kung anong mga proyekto namin na bawasan. Hindi naman kami tinatanong. So sinabi ko lang, based doon sa BICAM, ang insertion under the name of Congressman Zaldy Co is 13,803,693. Under Ako Bicol is 2,295,000,000. Under BHW is 2,064,000,000. Yun ang sinasabi ko. Kasi pag nagkaroon ng amendments, gawin natin ng maliwanag na halimbawa. No? Lahat kaming congressman, magre-request kami doon sa BICAM na kung pwede, madagdag to, madagdag yan. Okay? So for example, ako, nag-request ako, sulat ako siyempre sa speaker through the chairman of Committee on Appropriations, chairman. Pag na-grant yung request ko, it's going to be, ang requestor or ang proponent of this additional is Congressman Toby Tiangco at napunta sa district ng Navotas. Okay? Ang sinasabi ko dito doon sa 13,803,693,000, napunta siya sa iba't ibang distrito na hindi naman request ng congressman doon sa distrito na yon. Yun ang sinasabi ko. Tapos, kung na naman sa dalawang party list, ang pagkaalam ko, I could be wrong, alam ko ang infra na pinagbibigyan sila is about 100 to 150 million. O bakit naman itong dalawang to, pinagpahala sila, tig 2 billion? Yan lang ang sinasabi ko, di ba?
Is it
Ang
possible?
congressman, linawin ko lang yung proseso, ha? Yung bang insertion, puro lang sa BICAM, hindi ba meron din
Yes, sa
during
small
the,
committee,
yun na nga,
meron.
yung small committee eh.
Yes. Meron din sa small committee.
Oo.
Meron din
Tapos yun, hanggang ngayon, hindi nyo pa nakukuha, congressman, yung minutes,
wala yun yun.
yung records. Wala na yun.
I mean, wala. Walang binibigay. So, wala, di ba?
Sa paano yung sa BICAM, may balak ba kayong hingin din yun? At least on
At least
the
yung sa
house
BICAM
contingent.
kasi, yung sa BICAM, makikita mo may plus minus. At itong sinasabi ko na 13 billion, ito yung mga insertion sa BICAM. So ito yung mga insertion sa BICAM, di ba? At least yung BICAM may records, di ba?
Kung sakasakali, Congressman, na you're conducting your own, the House is conducting its own investigation. Kung may makita diyang anomalya, halimbawa large-scale corruption that will warrant a plunder case, pwede bang masuspindi yung membro nyo because of that?
Pero ang unang-unang tanong dyan, ilalabas ba nila? Ang gagawin nila dyan, yung kalaban nila, yung napapalabas nilang, di ba? Tapos yung kakampi nila, siyempre, pagtatakpan nila, obvious naman yan. Alam mo, ang problema, kaya nagagalit yung tao, gusto nilang gawin tanga yung tao, matalino yung tao, people can see through it, di ba? Let us stop all of this.
Yun na nga, nagagalit na nga ngayon ng tao. Halimbawa, may ganun ng
Kasi
public
nagagalit yung
pressure.
tao, Ami, dahil alam
Pwede bang
nila...
tanggalin yung ano?
What? Sorry. Go ahead.
Pwede bang masuspinde o ma-expel yung membro nyo kung gano'ng merong malakas na ebidensya, involved ka dyan sa kalokohan na yan. Meron bang ganon?
Hindi nga lalabas yung malakas na ebidensya eh. Why are we trying to fool ourselves na lalabas yung malakas na ebidensya?
With the insertions, Congressman, one of the things I was told was, at least sa mga congressmen that we've interviewed, some of them would say, well, na-insert yan under my district, but I know nothing about it. I'll give you a specific example. Si Congressman Arnan Panaligan, whom I spoke to immediately after Senator Ping Lacson's privileged speech, nandun siya sa slides ni Senator Lacson. We spoke to him right after, and he says, yeah, may insertion sa district niya, but he knew nothing about it, and it's possible somebody inserted it just like that under his name. Is that at all possible?
That's exactly what I am saying. Okay, hanapin ko lang yung file ko ha. That's exactly what I'm saying. Dito sa 13 billion ni Zaldy Co, may insertion dito na punta sa distrito niya. And I spoke to him, sabi niya hindi siya yung nag-request niyan. Oh. So that's exactly what I'm saying. Yan yung eksaktong sinasabi ko.
So it is believable that other
Yeah,
congressmen would
do
not
it.
have asked for that. Hindi sila yung humingi nun, napasok lang sa district nila.
Ang sinasabi ko nga, pag hiningi namin at binigay, ang lalabas na proponent ay or requestor ay kami. Dito sa sinasabi ko na 13 billion, ang requestor is Zaldy Co. So yan nga yung sinasabi ko, 'di ba?
Okay.
Nasa na si
Okay.
Mr. Zaldy Co?
Ito bibigay ko ha. Kay Congressman distrito ni Congressman Panaligan. Dito out of 13 billion, wait. Okay, hinahanap ko eh. Sige, go ahead. I'm listening while I'm looking
we
for
have,
it.
we have news today that si Congressman Co is in the U.S. for medical.
That's according to
Confirmed na.
Princess
Confirmed,
Abante.
parang hindi pa yata confirmed na yan.
That's according to the spokesman of Congress, si Princess Abante.
Si Princess Abante, who's the official spokesperson of the House Prosecution Panel, she said Congressman Zaldy Co is in the U.S. for medical reasons. And we know at this point that he has not attended any sessions
Magmula
at,
nung
since
SONA.
the 20th Congress
Opening.
started.
Bukas.
Ito, Ami. Ito
Yeah.
ha. Yung insertion ni Zaldy Co doon sa district ni Congressman Panaligan is 3,105,759.
Okay, so 3.2
Hindi niya hiningi
billion.
ito. Tapos doon sa isang dito, doon sa Mindoro, 3.2 billion.
Na hindi po
Confirm
hiningi.
na hindi siya humingi. Ma-determine ba natin na confirm ngayon na hindi siya humingi?
Okay, number one, doon nga sa records mismo ng Congress, hindi siya yung proponent.
Okay.
So obvious na hindi siya humingi. Then when I asked him, I saw him in the hearing. Sabi niya, hindi ko alam yan. So
Pero
ito
pag
yung
ganun,
part-
di ba siya magrereklamo? Di ba siya nagreklamo man lang na, bakit nagkaroon ng ganyan? Baka ako masisi dyan.
Alam mo naman, people just want peace, di ba? They don't want to get into all of this gulo.
Sir, so what you're saying is that some congressmen are unwitting beneficiaries of these insertions.
Yes.
The problem is we don't know who's
Sino
telling the
kikinabang?
truth. Yeah.
Yes, sir. What motive would anybody have to insert?
Sino yung makikinabang?
Would the district engineers? What do you think?
Hindi naman kaya gawin to ng district engineer, 'di ba? Wala nga they do not participate in the BICAM, so how can they insert during the BICAM?
Oo. Nasa BICAM yun.
They do not participate in the BICAM, they do not participate in the small committee. So how can DPWH insert during these meetings?
Yeah. Okay, Congressman, I'm so sorry. We are running out of time, but I need to ask.
No problem.
I need to ask you one last question, which is in Navotas, some commentaries have also cropped up about your potential connections to the contractors, Top Notch, as well as St. Timothy. Apparently, St. Timothy also has projects in your area, pati na yung Top Notch. What do you know about this?
Ate, buti tinanong mo yan, no? Unang-una, hindi ako nagtatanong sa mga, I don't ask my district engineers kung sino nanalo sa bidding. This is the first time I've asked a district engineer, nung lumabas yung 15 pangalan, this is the first time I've asked any of my district engineers kung sino yung mga nanalo sa bidding. Kasi nga, lumabas yung pangalan. So doon ko lang nalaman, no? Na si St. Timothy tsaka si Top Notch, meron, no? Number 1 yan. Okay. Number 2, di ba sinabi nga buong Pilipinas, meron sila, di ba? Eh yung Navotas part ng Pilipinas eh. Siyempre posibleng magkaroon. Di ba? Ngayon, siguro mas nakakapagtaka kung wala yung Top Notch tsaka yung St. Timothy, baka pinagbawalan ng congressman na pumasok sa lugar niya dahil kanya lahat ng kontrata. Di ba? Hindi ba mas nagtataka ka doon kung buong Pilipinas meron sila sa ibang distrito? Tanong natin kay Zaldy Co, meron ba sa kanilang Top Notch tsaka ano?
Okay, so basically you are categorically denying that you know these contractors, that you've ever worked with the contractors, and that you work with the district engineers.
No, I just asked the district
Ngayon lang.
engineer.
Oo, ngayon lang.
At recently, kasi sabi ko, meron ba yung mga dun sa 15 na listahan, meron ba? Sabi nga nila, yun na nga, sinabi sa akin may St. Timothy, hindi ko alam kung may Top Notch eh. Basta, okay, so tinanong ko sa kanya, siguraduhin mo na ayos yung mga proyekto niyan. Sabi naman niya, ayos. The fact is, I do not ask nga kung sino yung nananalo, di ba?
Okay.
Kasi wala naman akong pakialam, sinasabi ko lang sa district engineer, siguraduhin mo ang ayos yung trabaho dahil kayo ang nagpabid niyan.
Okay, and you also don't have any connections to these contractors? Hindi niyo po sila kilala?
I've never
Okay.
met St. Timothy, I've never met Top Notch, I've never met them.
Okay, that's clear. We leave the conversation there for now, and we'll have you
Yes,
back
yes.
in
Thank
another
you for
time.
asking. Thank you for asking that question.
Thank
no?
you.
Para maliwanag.
Oo,
Mas
kasi-
magtaka ka kung hindi nakapasok yan dalawang yan or
Kasi
diba?
meron, there's stuff going around on social media insinuating that you may be linked to these two contractors as well. Some people are saying...
That's natural. Siyempre, lahat na ng black propaganda gagawin sa akin, di ba?
Okay.
Lahat ng black propaganda gagawin sa akin. But I never involved myself in the bidding from... Hindi nga ako nagtatanong kung sino yung nananalo doon sa bidding eh. Mapapatawag ko lang yung contractor kung biglang may nag-text o may nag-Facebook sa amin na mabagal yung proyekto or may komento sila, papatawag ko muna yung DE. Then pupunta ko. Pag sinabi ko sa DE na bilisan at hindi pa rin na gagawa,
Yeah.
doon ko na tawag yung contractor. And I'm sure you wouldn't want to
Yeah.
be the contractor pag nagwala ako.
Yes, okay. Thank you so much for talking to us today, Navotas Representative Congressman Toby Tiangco.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank
Thank you, Congressman.
Bye-bye.
You are watching Storycon on One News. We just need to take a very quick break. We'll be right back. Please stay with us.
We've got developing news in the stories behind the headlines. Welcome back to Storycon, the Story Conference. I'm Ed Lingao.
And I'm Regina Lay. Still with us, Ami Pamindon of the Philippine Star.
And also join us this afternoon, Akbayan Party List Congressman Chel Diokno. Attorney Chel, welcome back to Storycon.
Hi, Ed. Hi, Amy. Good afternoon to
Hi,
everyone.
Congressman.
Good afternoon, sir. Thank you for joining us. Sir, we were having a long discussion kanina in relation as well to your motion that was approved dun sa Infracom. Remember, your motion was to have the members sign an undertaking divulging any, let me if I get this right, financial and pecuniary interests with regard to the projects that are being investigated. Kasi sa amin kasi ang malaking tanong, paano hindi mag-divulge, number one, at number two, paano sabihin, wala namang conflict of interest eh, kahit contractor siya. I mean, what constitutes conflict of interest? and meron bang paghihimay doon?
Well, una-una, kung hindi sila mag-divulge pero lumabas later na meron nga silang pecuniary, financial, or business interest sa mga iniimbestigahan ng mga flood control projects, then that could be subject of complaints within the Congress. And that could also be a subject to possible violations of the Code of Conduct, Republic Act 6713.
Pero as far as the investigation is concerned, can they be made to inhibit? Number one, can they be forced to inhibit, or is that a voluntary thing?
Well, unang-una, dapat mag-i-inhibit sila if that is the case. Now, if they do not voluntarily inhibit, it may be subject of a motion by, anyone who would like to raise it before the committee.
Attorney, ano ba impact nung inimbestigahan yung congressman ng Ethics Committee? What can the Ethics Committee do kung sakaling merong impropriety or possible violation of the law, criminal act, yung membro ng Kongreso?
Well, administratively, as best as I can understand it, the Ethics Committee can impose penalties on the erring member. Pwede rin yan i-recommend for investigation and prosecution by the appropriate authorities, Executive Department, Amy.
Ano yung administrative sanctions na pwedeng impose ng House?
As sa pagkaalam ko, that would include suspension and possibly even expulsion. But of course,
Expulsion.
it would require plenary action.
Yung expulsion, anong grounds ang pwede? Corruption ba or plunder? Pwede yan. Possible plunder dahil kailangan nyo ng mas matinding pag-imbestiga, no? Pwede ba yun?
I would
that require,
imagine. Mas
court?
maganda siguro kung itanong natin yan sa mga officials ng ating Ethics Committee. Ako po ay baguhan lang. I'm not that familiar with the specific grounds.
Sir, tapos the Philippine Star kasi came up with a list of legislators, officials, vice chairman of the Vice Chairman ng Public Works Committee, which is a subcommittee ng Infacom, which is the one investigating yesterday. 5 sa kanila who have been linked to contracting companies or contractors, either their families or the direct relatives. But without imputing anything, we're not imputing that they're doing anything wrong, but just the facts. Member ng Vice Chairman ng Committee on Public Works si Arbison, si Beltran, si Loria, si Pancho, si Gonzales. Of the 18 vice chairmen of the committee, 5 of them have been linked to contractors. For example, in that case, sir, would they be subject to inhibition? How does that go?
Well, first of all, kaya nga namin inihain yan, yung motion for full disclosure, because that's a duty that's imposed by the Constitution and by our Code of Conduct for public officials. And lalo na pag isang mambabatas ang iniimbestigahan niya ay meron nga siyang conflict, that's what we want to avoid. In fact, one of the reasons when I made the motion was because of the reports, the privileged speech delivered by Senator Lacson, where he said that during the 19th Congress, sa pagkakwento sa kanya, there were at least 67 members of the House who were somehow involved in these kinds of projects. And it's very important that we show the public that we are, the House of Representatives is going to conduct a thorough, real investigation and not any kind of cover-up or whitewash.
Congressman, let me pivot a little bit and talk to you about yung last hearing. Your questioning of Lawrence Lubiano of Center Waste Construction, I think it resonated with a lot of people, especially since Mr. Lubiano was not questioned in the Senate. He admitted to donating 30 million pesos to Senate President Cheese Escudero's campaign in 2022. And right then and there, there's admission na of violating the Omnibus Election Code. Do you think that's enough to charge him with?
Hi, yes, hi, Reina. I don't think much investigation is needed. The only real legal question remaining, because of the admissions made by Mr. Lubiano, and if I got the news right, even Senator Cheese has said the same thing, that
Yeah.
it's a personal contribution or donation. Ang natitira na lang na issue is that a sufficient defense or justification? Or would that still constitute a violation of the election laws? I mean, klaro naman yung batas natin, no? Government contractors may not donate to candidates during a campaign. And stocks are there, but of course you have the reason given was personal lang naman daw. In law, we have a concept that we call piercing the corporate veil, which basically simply means that when you cannot use a corporation as a shield if there was if you knew and took advantage of that kind of relationship. Of course, I cannot preempt the Commission on Elections. I really don't know how they will view this. Pero sa tingin ko, this is something that really merits investigation. And at the end of the day, what we're looking for is to make sure that elections are not influenced by these kinds of government projects, and that there is complete transparency when it comes to free, fair, and honest elections.
Congressman, mukhang the chairman naman of the COMELEC fully agrees with you eh. At tayo ng tingin nila dyan sa kaso ni Mr. Lubiano. Ang nadagdag lang dun sa hearing ninyo, sinabi niya, he's related to the brother, he's related to a mayor and a councilor in Sorsogon. Yun lang ang nadagdag dun sa kanya na makakadagdag actually dun sa kaso. Kung sakasakali lang, tatanong ko lang, by way of legislation, may remedy pa kaya itong mga ganitong sitwasyon, Congressman? Dahil actually we have laws already governing them eh. Ano pang madadagdag kaya dito para matigil siya?
Andyan na nga yung batas. Pero palagi ko nga sinasabi ito, aanhin natin ang batas kung wala naman ngipin. At that's really what we need is to show the public that the government is serious and that there should be accountability.
Yes. Hindi na madadagdagan niya. Ano pa kaya magagawa natin? Papaila na lang ng kaso.
Pero the problem, Ami, is the sense that I'm getting is from COMELEC Chair Garcia, when we interviewed him, was that the onus lies on the contractor who donated, which I disagree with because of obviously the person who accepted the donation should have known better, right? They're running for office. They should be held to a higher standard. And the question there is, how will they make... So it sounds like at this point they will make somebody accountable, but who are they going to make accountable is the question.
Is it the legislator or the contractor? The donor or the donee?
The donor or the donee?
Hindi, pareho yun, di ba? Sa anti-graft pareho eh. Hindi, ang tanong na lang siguro, what can we do kung Senate President yung involved?
Oh.
Pwede ba siyang kasuhan?
It shouldn't make a difference. Any government official is bound by the law, regardless of their position in either house of Congress. And yung at the end of the day kasi ang kailangan din natin ay may pakita sa publiko that they're serious about enforcing the law, and it shouldn't matter who is involved.
Sir?
Basta non-impeachable official, pwede siyang kasuhan. If it's the Senate President, sa Department of Justice ba yun or Ombudsman, sino mag-handle nun?
Ang primerong may hawak niyan, siyempre, ang COMELEC, ang nasa kanilang...
COMELEC muna,
As far as I know, yes.
Pero anti-graft yun eh. Paano kung sino na yung susunod after COMELEC?
Maari din yan hawakan ng Office of the Ombudsman. Iba naman ang magiging legal theory niyan. Hindi naman yan magiging election offense, kundi violation ng mga anti-graft laws natin.
Although, sir, it's under the Omnibus Election Code, so it would, if at all, be an election offense. It's Omnibus Election Code, BP 881, Section 95, if I recall correctly. Pero sir, kami lang sir, the man of the hour, if you might call him that, is si Congressman Zaldy Co. Everybody's looking for him, and nobody's apparently seen him since July 28th. Not even sure if it was there. But
Not
anyway,
since the 20th Congress
but
started.
he has not been coming to work and all that. And now we're hearing that he's in the U.S. for some sort of medical treatment. What have you heard? Is that also what you're hearing, or is there anything else that we should know about, or that you have heard otherwise?
Unfortunately, Ed, I belong to the minority, so wala kami masyadong nasasagip ng mga kwento tungkol dyan. I really haven't heard anything about his whereabouts or other things about.
Because some people might find that the circumstances in the coincidence a bit too coincidental.
But
as far as transparency is concerned, early on, my party, the Akbayan Party List, we filed a resolution calling for an open BICAM, calling for that it be accessible and streamed live to the public until the very end, because that exactly was our concern. And the Senate minority, I understand, also filed a counterpart resolution. At dapat lang na maging bukas at transparent yung buong proseso ng budget, because we don't want issues like this to come up again.
Yeah.
Especially when a lot of issues about the previous budgets that nobody knows up to now the answers to. And sino naglagay ng mga insertions, saan nanggaling yan, mga involved dyan.
Right.
These are questions that the public, I think, must have answers to.
Right. Congressman, we're running out of time, but 30 seconds. Could you clarify Akbayan's role in today's, what happened at the Diskaya compound with people throwing rocks and mud at the Diskaya house? There's been some confusion on who that group is. Can you just clarify what Akbayan's role is in that?
What I understand is that Akbayan's mobilization is set for tomorrow, not for
hindi pa
today.
yun. So hindi kayo kasama sa
really
today?
don't know who was involved in today's activity.
Okay, that's very clear. Thank you so much for joining Storycon today. I'm sorry we've run out of time, but we'll call you back in another time. That was Akbayan Party List Representative Congressman Chel Diokno.
Thank you, sir. Good to see you.
Thank you, Congressman.
And that is all the time we have for today, unfortunately. Thank you so much for joining Storycon today. I'm Ipo Midon, Editor-in-Chief of the Philippine Star. Join us again tomorrow, 4 p.m. for Storycon. I'm Regina Lay.
I'm Ed Lingao. We are One News, all sides, all the time.